Oh. Right, sorry about that, folks. Random. I'm clearly just an old fossil freaking boomer because I started it and then realised that I'd got it on the wrong camera. Because yeah, I think I'm just old. I'm just old. I mean, I'm not old, but just a bit of a boomer struggling with modern tech. So yeah, sorry about that. A couple of minutes later. Anyway, where was I? I hope everyone's well, by the way. I hope you're all having a good, cracking week. How's it going, Grim Reaper? I hope you're good, buddy. So yeah, second session is in session. I guess I don't know if that's clearly not the right thing to say, but hopefully you know what I mean. Back for the second event. So clearly the first one didn't go too bad, enough that there are people that are back and willing to endure more of me and my inane prattling. Now, before we start, same kind of house rules. If at any point you need to get up and go to the bathroom, feel free to, you don't have to ask. Unless, of course, I'm the only one on the web camera. So if you want to rock out with your cock out and, do whatever it is you need to do with a bottle, then that's fine. Nobody needs to know about that kind of thing. Weirdly, I've got. Why is this coming up on my computer? I really do feel like a freaking boomer some days. Why won't that go away? Go away. I don't know what that was. I've just ejected some digital device somewhere. That's probably going to not end well. Yes, so this is the new man cave. Well, I say it's new. It's reasonably new, but yeah, it's all my gear behind. It just means now that I don't have to be in the house. The last it's longer than that. Last 6 years, maybe 7 years, I've been working from home, and it's all been from my dining room table, which isn't the best. So now I can come out here and have my little man cave, and all of my stuff has followed with me. Although Mrs. Morland is like, no, I found something here and I found something there. You need to get that out of the house. I'm fed up with all of your stuff that's in the house. But is it sexist to say that that women are never happy? It might be, but we're all amongst good company here, I guess. Yeah, back to the house rules. If there's a fire, in the event of a fire, then exit the building safely. Hopefully, you'll all be good. Now we did. There was an idea that I got for tonight. We looked at the poll, and I think it was surviving or gear to like survive the zombie apocalypse kind of thing. So we'll definitely get onto that. What I thought of as well is it's beer and gear night tonight. Tonight's beer is the lovely Hobgoblin Golden Beer. I don't think I'll finish all of these tonight, but I'll certainly have a good stab at it. I thought these were made by Witchwood. I'm sure they used to be made by Witchwood, but now it says, or is this a different type? I don't think it's a different type. But yeah, these will just make sure that boss wouldn't be very happy if I phone in on Monday morning and say I've sprayed beer all over my laptop. Cheers. Here's to friends in good health. Yeah, so we will get on to that. There's a couple of things I guess I can mention for tonight. There are some giveaways. We will do these. We'll do these at the end. I know I kind of rushed things last time because I was just surprised that I'd managed to waffle on for 2 hours. But yeah, so we do have some giveaways. So we will do these. I suppose I can show you this now. So I was talking to who was I talking to? I was talking to Olight. That's who I was talking to. Olight regularly send me stuff through, and so they've sent me the Seeker 4 Pro and the O Clip Pro as well. These are the kind of the zombie ones. I think these sold out really quickly on the website. I think they've still got some of these, but anyway, either way, long story short, I was supposed to make some content on these before I went to Berlin, and they turned up, sod's law, they turned up the day that I left, so I couldn't. And I was talking to Olight and just said, I have these lights, and I made some shorts on them. So as far as how new these are brand new. We'll be doing a giveaway with these at the end, and yeah, I've just opened them. All I've done is open them and made a short for less than a minute and put them back in. So I thought these would be useful to give away at the end. And I've even spoke with Olight. Now on that point as well. So next month, it's when this will happen, I think will be Black Friday. I've kind of messed my dates up a little bit. So I think I said with Olight that I'd do it on Black Friday, but it's actually my daughter's birthday on Black Friday. So might not be able to do it then because we're going out. But I thought instead of doing it on the Friday night, we'll do it on the Saturday night, which is kind of that Black Friday Cyber Monday. But they've been really nice. The lady that I talked to at Olight she's so nice. She generally is really nice. And I mentioned those, and she's like, "Oh, brilliant! It's really excited that you're doing these live things." So the next one, if you want, I'll send you some more stuff, and if you want, I'll even give you like a special discount code that anybody that's in here. Then, if you want to get some stuff from Olight, then yeah, I've got these. These will be given away today, and then there'll be some more giveaways next week as well. Hey, good evening. Glad you're here. Oh, we've got some. Oh, bottle. Yeah, nice. Aldi and Lidl really have stepped up their game when it comes to beer. They're they've got some really nice stuff there. Is there a way you can send me some New England beer samples? Yeah, definitely. What I'd say is, rather than giving out my email here, if you go into my, I think it's the community, it's either the community tab or it's the last one along. There's a thing in there that's got like click here to get in contact, which is how everyone gets in contact with me. So if you go along to that and click on it, it'll say, "Are you sure you want to see this person's email address?" If you click on that, then you'll be able to see my email address. If you drop me a line, then I'd love to. Well, we could have some genuine guest ales here on Beer and Gear, which would be really cool. Depending on how strong they are, I can. Well, anyway, yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, that make it even more fun. So good. And I thought as well, maybe it would be useful because if I'm only doing these once a month. I've actually gotten really warm now. If I'm only doing these once a month, then maybe I could touch on some of the things that I get sent through the month. If that's something that you'd be interested in. I'm too much of a. I can't not open things, especially when they're sent to me, because I have to make sure I email them and say, "Oh, thank you very much." Don't worry about that. I was struggling before I came on here because I couldn't remember how to get the right webcam going. I ended up doing it on my work laptop, which is like really shoddy, and the camera quality on there is not very good. But yeah, I thought maybe we could touch on some things, some kind of new developments for the channel and kind of things that have been sent. A lot of the stuff that I do get sent, especially this time of year, there's a lot of torches, a lot of flashlights. One thing that I was really excited about is what's it now? So it's not LED flashlights, it's LEP flashlights or torches. So it's just kind of that new weird laser technology. It's crazy how bright these are. Being a candela kind of guy, yeah, I'm kind of big into candela, but with this one, because it's so pinpoint, It's also got one of those like with the LED lenser ones where you can change the thing on it. So that's kind of cool. This is in the works. I've been walking the dog out in the woods and kind of testing that, which is quite nice. And there was also another one for Phoenix as well. I love Phoenix. Phoenix lights really are awesome. And they got in touch, and I'd worked with them a few years back, and they kind of not necessarily ignored my emails, but they you find every now and again they just kind of get back in touch and go, oh hey, we kind of forgot about you. So they've sent me one of their lights, the PD36R, which is really nice. Again, took this out for walks and stuff, but I like the UI with this one. A lot of lights where you've got like, what is it, moonlight, low, medium, high, and turbo. You've got those 5 different settings, and with this one there's a dial, or there's a little button in it, so you can decide, well, I just want it on one of the settings, and that setting I think is the turbo, or you can have it on 3 of the settings, so it's either ultra low, mid, and turbo, or you can have it on all 5, so when you're clicking it, it'll switch between them. I mentioned to them as well more under tactical, and about attaching these to RIS rails, and they're like, yeah, we've got mounts. So they sent me a remote switch, and they've also sent me a pick rail mount as well, so I can get a couple of pieces of content out of that, which would be pretty cool. There was a nice little kind of thing that I got with Savota as well for the first time. So Savota, quite a few times when I've made some content, Savota have sent me an email and gone, oh, we like videos, any chance we could use it on our kind of marketing website? And I was like, yeah, that'd be amazing. But I randomly sent them an email just on the off chance to see if they'd like to work together. And they were like, yeah, we'd love to. So I've got a couple of things in the works with Savota as well, which for me, for a small channel, for just some dude from the Kingdom of the Moorlands, working with a company like Savota that I absolutely adore and respect the hell out of. Again, it's just a nice little kind of feel good moment. Yeah, they've sent me some gear as well. And I think that's kind of it. There's been other things. Some things I can't mention because of kind of they're not out yet. Moorland tactical side. I know it's not really talking about Moorland tactical tonight, but I've got a what's this called? It's called a grenade, but it's an impact grenade. Haven't really tested this yet, although I did put a blank into it. This fires blanks. You put a blank. It's not a blank. It's what's it called? Is it the 902? The primers that you put into shotguns? No, it's not shotguns. Anyway, the primers, you put one of those into there, and then throw that on the floor, and then when it hits, it goes off. They're awesome. So we're testing that for more than the tactical. More than the tactical, there's just some gloves that have gone live, some content that's gone out tonight. I'm master of gloves. Really nice gloves. Very, very impressed with those, and that's gone live tonight on more than the tactical. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the updates. Don't think there's anything else. Oh, I do have some more coats. The people at Snugpack have sent me 3 coats, which is really nice. Very generous of them. So I'll be testing those out. Hopefully, when it gets really cold soon. Although I think it's going to start getting cold in here whilst I'm working during the day. Yeah, that should be good too. You definitely shouldn't be dribbling into your curry. Yeah, that would be a bad thing. And pouches. Or is that a typo from something else? I mean, yeah. That's a point. Wow, what are they called now? Agilite have just released their 308 mag pouches, so I'm going to send them an email to see if they'll mind sending me some of those. So yeah, so there you go. That's kind of the updates. Nothing. I mean, there was some really nice things in there. Again, just for me being a small channel, I think there were really nice kind of little wins, especially the Savota one, which was really nice. Germany was cool recently. Loved being in Germany. Went to Berlin with work, so I had to do stuff whilst I was there. But luckily, it wasn't as busy as I was expecting. So managed to see a little bit of the city. Managed to get myself a German kebab while I was there, which was pretty good. But I didn't get to go and see tack work, which is what I really wanted to see. But I'm glad if whoever it was, if you're in here now, I certainly want to say thank you. Or if you're watching this at a later date, I didn't realize that tack work showroom is a showroom, and respect that they just open it for maybe say a day or two each month. I assumed that you could just go and it was like a bricks and mortar shop and that you could go into it. So yeah, couldn't go. Beers. So this is the Hobgoblin Golden beer. It's a sweet, crisp. It's not sweet, but it's a lovely, crispy golden ale. It's a UK brand as well, but yeah, really good. And they come in pint cans as well. But I've done some notes as well. I'd even prepared for this one. So we're talking about, and it's quite good that it landed on Halloween. That maybe we did something that was kind of topical, kind of thing. So yeah, I checked on the WhatsApp, and I think the top one was gear to survive. Gear to survive a zombie apocalypse, because there's some good gear out there, but really if you're after something that you really want to make sure you can survive a zombie apocalypse, then you want to make sure that it's as tough and that it's as reliable as possible, which I guess is the end goal anyway, isn't it? You always want to make sure that you've got the best kind of gear that will last you a long time. But I've got some categories kind of thing. Now, I think the one thing that we need to work out beforehand is what sort of zombies are we talking about? I'm guessing we're not talking about 28 days later style zombies, the mad ones that just like sprint at you like a crazed loon that's like, ah! Because I mean, I like to run, but my cardio is not that good. I do like a 10K, takes me kind of just less than an hour. I can do a 28-minute 5K. I think that's pretty good for an old fossil like me. But I'm not sprinting. Obviously, I'd pull a hammy within probably about 5 minutes. So I'm guessing then we're not talking 28 days later zombies. We're talking old-fashioned 1950s. They're coming for you. Oh, what's the lady's name? I've got Miranda in my head. What was the lady's name? Veronica. Anyway, from Night of the Living Dead, the kind of the George Romario style ones, or your classic kind of Fear the Walking Dead kind of ones. Because again, yeah, I'm just not fit enough to do that sort of stuff. But then that sorry about this as well. One of the beauties of in my profession, going on site and seeing clients and spending prolonged periods in planes and convention centers is, you go away and you pick up a lot of bugs from handshaking. I'm sure it's probably my industry that was the main leader. It's a pharmaceutical industry. They were the ones that actually created coronavirus. So anyway, but we were probably the ones that spread it so quickly around the world. Where was I going with that? I don't know where I was going with that. I think it's because of the fact that I coughed then, wasn't it? So I think we should set it with the expectations that sprinting isn't really going to be needed. We can just kind of work our way around them, but in large hordes, then we're just going to have to be careful. The first question is, though, because I've seen a lot of this sort of stuff, especially around about people talking about bug out bags. Has anyone ever done a bug out bag? Has anyone ever done like a 72-hour shit hits the fan kind of bag? I've always been curious if people have ever done that sort of stuff, because I see people that do them, but then it's how regularly do you update them? And I remember, there's a fellow in the US. His channel is a lot of military stuff, and he was talking about the one thing that he realized when it comes to your bug out bags is now that he's got a wife and 2 kids, he now needs 4 bug out bags. And his bug out bag was, say, 30 kilos or however much it was. And then he came to the realization that, okay, so I've got a 14-year-old and I've got a 16-year-old, 2 daughters. How well are they going to do with a 30-kilo bug out bag? Or what's that? That's 60 pounds, is it? No, 30 kilos, 2.2 pounds per kilo. Yeah, so that's 60 pounds. I certainly don't think my wife would want to kind of carry that, and I certainly don't think my daughters would be able to carry it as well. I mean, it's 2025, of course they could carry it because empowerment and all that sort of stuff. They totally could, but they might struggle. So, would you? Is it you? Would you think it would be more useful? And this is a quandary. Would it be better to stay in your home and kind of bunker down into your own premises than kind of have that point that you're like, right, okay, so what I want to do is, if the world says the zombie apocalypse has happened, I'm going to get out to the moorlands. The motto of the moorlands is the moorlands protects. And it does. It's the ground that's always protected the kingdom of the moorlands and its citizens, the indigenous folk of the kingdom of the moorlands. It's always protected us, but you've got to get there. And if the shit hits the fan, and we're not talking about invading forces, are we? We're not talking about forces kicking down your door and coming into your house, forcing you out onto the road. They've got AKs or whatever they've got, and they're like kind of barking orders at you. That's not really going to happen in the zombie apocalypse, isn't it? So is it more beneficial to stay within the building where you are and then do little raids to the shops, to the farm, to wherever it is that you need to go to get food and that sort of stuff? Or is it better to have that second location that you're going to have to then try and get to? Because it can't be easy when you think the amount of other people that have got similar kind of thoughts to get to somewhere, and then roads are going to be blocked. Luckily, we've got a lot of canals around here. Canals would probably be an underutilized means of transport, and I don't necessarily mean using the waterways, but maybe using the towpaths. People would possibly not think to use the towpaths and would just stick to main highways instead. I'd love to build a bug out bunker as well. I think that would be awesome. I've started watching, and a lot of them, like these channels that are literally just like a dude in the middle of the woods that dug a hole and then lined it with like stones. It's like, this looks like you built it in an afternoon. You've got stones that have clearly been mined from a quarry that have probably been dropped off just off camera, and you've actually got your 8 buddies that are out there helping you with it. I seem to be watching a lot of those recently. When Mrs. Morlander goes to bed at about 8:30, and I'm just like, okay, let's put something decent on. I seem to watch a lot of those, but I think it's one of those ones that you can just turn on because they're always about like half hour long, and just kind of mong out and watch those. Mong out is a Morelandese term. It's nothing to do with mentally impaired. It's an old-fashioned Morelandese term in my own common language, which is different to English. So just in case anyone gets offended by that. Yeah, I think you're right. So I think bugging in and kind of just getting stuck down in your own home is probably the right idea, especially for a zombie apocalypse. Because again, we're not talking about your rage-filled kind of breaking down your door. You should be all right. And I suppose if you think about it cleverly as well, we're all lucky enough. Most houses in the UK, I'd say, yeah, the vast majority of houses in the UK, we all have lofts, don't we? Thumbs up if you've got a loft. So if needs be, what you could do is you could set up your home to be kind of battened down from the inside, put your stuff against the door. You'd always need some way in which you could bolt out. Luckily for me, so our garden's kind of tiered. So if something really went bad, I could easily break my way through the tiles, get out onto the roof, and then get out onto our kitchen roof, which is maybe a drop of 2.5, 3 meters. I'm not going to have any issues with that because my knees are rock solid from just being a goddamn legend. And hopefully my daughters wouldn't have any issues if I could jump down first, or you'd have something in your loft to make sure that if you were concerned about the drop, that you could hang down first, or an old mattress that you could chuck out, because at the end of the day you're probably gonna have to sleep up there, so you've got a couple of mattresses up there. So that will kind of make sense. I think trying to get to somewhere, although it sounds good, because you've all got this idea that if I can get there, then everything will be good, kind of thing. But getting there would be an issue. Yeah, I think we're right on this one. I think we should definitely stay in. So obviously, before the shit kicks off, everyone's coming around my gaff, and then we'll set something up in the loft. I used to work in a warehouse, and it was for a confectionery company. And at the time, the amount, I mean, if you've ever worked in a warehouse, you know how boring picking and stock checking and stuff can be. So at the time, I was like, do you know what? If the shit really did hit the fan, you could just come here, because there was pallets and pallets and pallets of food that was pork scratchings. There was loads of kind of like scampi fries and that sort of stuff, which would take quite a while to go off. And then the rest of it was all like pick and mix and stuff. Because it was in metal racking, it was quite high, and there was, say, 4 or 5 different layers of it. So things like rats and other stuff, they're going to struggle to get higher into that. But then I guess if you spent your entire time in there eating nothing but carbs, I guess after a couple of weeks you'd have really bad shits. Yeah, that probably wouldn't be that good, actually, would it? Because, yeah. Or you just have a load of carbs, zombies would be outside, and you'd be like going, right, lads, should we do some press ups? Anybody for a run around the block? Because I'm just like buzzing full of carbs. If it was that you were going to get to somewhere, though, if something had happened to the house, ground floor had been raided, just ambling kind of zombies around there. Transport. What's the gig with transport? Are we talking, would you opt for a vehicle, car, petrol? I'm guessing for electric, obviously it's only got a certain distance, but with a vehicle, then you've got more miles, or a petrol vehicle, you've got more miles out of that. Or would it be better in your shed, especially if with the idea of maybe using towpaths for bikes? I don't think we'd have to worry about things like horses. Certainly, we've got quite a few horses around here, but not that I'd ever want to kind of get one and go bareback on a horse. Never gone bareback on a horse. Gone bareback on a few cows. Anyway, that's one for another day. But yeah, bareback on a horse, I don't think would be particularly useful, especially if you've got a wife and a couple of kids that you're trying to get up there as well. But a bike would make sense, or a whether it's a normal kind of sweat iron or whether it's one that's powered by electric, because at least that way you can have a little bit of speed. You're not burning as many calories, and eventually when the power runs out, then you're gonna have to just kind of pedal it old-fashioned way with a bit of leg action. Anybody got any other thoughts at this point? Does anybody try to make their own little bunker? Has anybody got like an old-fashioned coal shed? That's going back. You don't get those in houses nowadays, do you? But like an old-fashioned coal shed, one of the ones that went down underneath into the cellar. That would be really cool. I've always wanted a house with a cellar, but then I guess with a cellar, there's very few exits from a cellar, isn't it? You either need to go out through the cellar door, or if there's one of those like little hatches that they use to put the coal down, I guess that would be quite difficult, wouldn't it, really? You're on an island. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I guess if you could destroy all of the boats, then you'd probably be all right in that kind of in that way. Um, yeah, and just pray that the whatever the virus. I suppose it's not an air kind of pathogen, is it? Or I don't know actually. I guess if we are going with the Night of the Living Dead kind of thing, then anybody that's passed away within the last year or so may still be in a condition in a grave that their limbs will still be articulated by the muscles that haven't degenerated and rotted away too quickly. So there's still a chance on an island that you may still get some of the living dead coming back to life. However, there's a very good chance that you're probably going to be quite good on an island, in fairness. I always thought trying to get to somewhere like why have I struggled with that word? The island off the northwest of Anglesey. Oh God, my nan would absolutely kill me for that. Anglesey, that'd be a good place because as long as you could get over and then you could destroy the bridge or the bridges, that would be a good place to kind of batten down. And I know there's lots of little coves and stuff around the coast as well there, isn't there? So that would be good. But then the real heroes would be the Scots off the because there's no, if I'm right in saying so, there are no islands off the east coast of Scotland, but there are plenty of islands off the north and the west coast of Scotland. So that would be a good place if you could get to there, and then you'd have to try and work out how to get over to one of the islands, and then hopefully by that point it's not just completely just ransacked with zombies, but that'd be pretty good. That would be a good place to go. But from the Kings of the Moorlands to Scotland, it's a good. I'm just trying to think. So my wife's uncle, he lives on Arran. It's about 5 or 6 hours drive, and that's on a good day when the gods of the M6 look down upon you favourably. On a bad day, it can take you a lot longer than that. Oh. I see you also speak Moorlandese as well. Yes, correct. Mongout is a it's a Moorlandese term. I know the English version of that term means slightly something different, but here in the Kingdom of the Moorlands, it's a perfectly normal term that you'd say. In fact, there's a teacher. My dad would say he was a teacher in the Kingdom of the Moorlands. He'd say, oh, "For Christ's sake, stop being a monk," and he would say that so much, which again in an English English school, it has a different connotation, but here in the Kingdom Islands, it's completely different and 100% safe. So I love the loft idea as well is a cracking idea for old homes. So my loft is, I don't know what would so the eaves, is that the right word? Eaves? I think it's eaves. Um, the eaves themselves, they don't have the extra triangles that are in between them. My dad's home was built in the 1980s, so when you're climbing through the loft, you really have to climb between different bits. Whereas in our house, my house was built in the 1930s. We don't have those, so you could quite easily live in a nice big loft like that. Anglesey is such a beautiful place, and I have such a terrible memory. My nan's from North Wales. My dad's from North Wales, and we had a thing in. I mean, let's pretend the Kingdom of Moorlands wasn't a real place. We used to have this thing called the Potteries Half. It was the Potteries fortnight. And every year, without fail, Mum and Dad would ship me and my brother over to North Wales, and I'd spend 2 weeks with my nan and granddad, and it was the best time ever. My granddad would tell us stories about the war. We'd go on amazing walks. He'd show me all of his gear and all of this sort of stuff, and I fucking loved learning from him and all the different things he'd show me, hunting and chucking rabbits at you. There you go, son. Skin that. Okay, randomly had a weird conversation with somebody the other day, and it's like, could you imagine passing a rabbit to a 16-year-old nowadays and going, there you go, dress that, and a knife? And you're like, there you go, dress that for me. They'd be like, what, like a little jacket kind of thing? You're like, no, I need you to dress it like little booties or something. You're like, okay, it's a I don't know, it's a weird thing, isn't it, that kind of stuff's gone. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in North Wales, and I love going back to North Wales, which I really do feel is a second home for me. And taking the kids, because every single time we go, they'll go, Dad, take us to a new beach we've never been to before. I'm like, okay, let's go. Well, how do you remember all this stuff? Well, when I was young, we didn't have phones in the car. If I mean, I might read a comic, but I get sick reading in the car. So you'd look out the window and you'd kind of just look at stuff, and that's how you remember stuff. Whereas the kids now are just like that for the entire time. Anyway, that kind of got off topic there, but yeah, Anglesey is such a beautiful place, such an amazing place. If you're not from the UK and you're watching this, and you ever do come to the UK, I won't go into this too much. Spend your time in London. Do the London thing. Spend a day there. You don't need to spend anything more than a day. But the best thing you'll ever do is leave London and come and see the north of England, see Wales. North Wales is my second home, obviously. Spend some time in South Wales, but go up to the real Wales, which is in the north. Anyway, or see Scotland. London's, it's not a particularly English city. It doesn't. It's just kind of cosmopolitan. You could be anywhere. You could be in New York. You could be in Paris. You could be wherever. But when you leave London, the best of England, the best of Wales, the best of Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So I should mention obviously Northern Ireland and Ireland as well. But yeah, you'll see the best of that, especially if you come to if you're coming from another country. Now, it's funny you should say the Patriot Pro fleece. I have seen that. I'm going to pick one up. I need to check my finances a little bit. It's been a tough couple of months having to pay off some things for the shed. Um, so Mrs. Morlander's like, oh, we need to pay a couple of these cards off and stuff. However, I have seen the Pro Fleece and it does look really nice. So I'm just gonna get one of those rather than waiting for somebody to say, would you like to have a look at these? So yes, definitely will be trying to get a Pro Fleece. And as soon as I get one, I'll try and see if I can fast forward a little bit on that. I've got a few days still that I need to take holiday before the end of the year. So if needs be, I'll just take some extra. I'll just take a couple of extra days so I can get off. It's a bit off topic, but do you reckon that Helican Text will ever bring back the MBDU shirt in full glory? I'm not too sure on that one. I wish I had a better relationship with Helican Text so I could ask them that sort of stuff. Have a strange kind of relationship with them because, like, what was the Yukon jacket? That was Military First got in touch, and there's such good people there. They are genuinely really nice. And they got in touch and said, "Oh, we've got this. It's just come in, and we hands down know that your audience will freaking love this. Can we send it to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely. I've been waiting a couple of years for that to come out." So I made some content on that, and Helican Text emailed Military First and said, "Oh, we've seen this content that Randy's made, and it's brilliant." I'm like, "Thanks, I appreciate that. Do you want to send me something else, maybe?" So yeah, I'm trying to build a relationship with Helican Text that hopefully I can get to a point where when new lines come out that I can get a little bit of an insider thing with them. But kind of to answer your original question, the Pro. Oh no, well I would mention the Pro Fleece, isn't it? I'm not too sure on the MBDU shirts. I think there's a few lines that Helican Text are kind of moving out of, which it seems surprising because I mean I don't know what their sales figures are like, but I know from talking to people, whether that's kind of people that just like to go out and use certain stuff, or even just like talking to people on the kind of the more tactical side when I'm airsoft and stuff. They really like that sort of stuff. So I'm not too sure what happened there, or if it is that maybe they've got another item in the pipeline that will be replacing that. I'm sure I was talking to somebody that said that Helican Text have got a 2-year pipeline structure. So, like the stuff that I saw a couple of years back at IWA, sometimes they'll come out. You see, IWA is in March, and sometimes they'll come out in the kind of this time of year. But then there's definitely been things that I've seen in March that I've been waiting for, and it's not come out at the end of the year, and then it's gone full cycle another year before it's actually come out. So it could be that they've got something else in the pipeline, and that's something that's going to replace it that would come out soon. That's just pure conjecture, speculation on my part. I really don't know, but yeah, it'd be good to see something that would definitely replace something like that. Oh, taking over a castle would be epic. Conway would be the first place I'd go to. It's one of the closest to me. Rudland would be another cool one because if I remember rightly, Rudland's got it's not it's got a kind. It had a moat which it doesn't have now, but it would still be a divot that a stumbling kind of clumsy zombie would get stuck in. There is a castle near me. So I'm not. I mean, I'm a stone's throw from Alton Towers, Kingdom Moorlands, of course. So Alton Towers would be an epic castle to go to. There's also a castle close to me called Caverswell Castle, and that is I forget. It's the only remaining livable X-century castle with a moat. And that's really close to me in Caverswall, so that's not too far away as well. But that would be epic. Imagine like a proper portcullis, a proper drawbridge kind of jog on knobheads. You're not coming in here. I'll chuck some molten tar down on you, spit on you, and set fire to you, kind of thing. I need to update the Kingdom of the Moorlands castles so that we can get back to that. They got into a bit of kind of the last time that the Vikings invaded, they got a little bit run down, and I just need to invest some money back into the kingdom and take some money out of the coffers to kind of update our castles. North Wales is freaking epic for castles. Scotland's awesome for castles as well. I think that'd be amazing to kind of head that way. But like I say, Alton Towers. I grew up in a small town that was within 2 miles of Alton Towers. So that's really close. I could easily go down to Alton Towers. I know all of the back ways in because we used to go in through the back ways when we were kids anyway. Yeah, that'd be pretty. See, that'd be another good place to get to. If something did happen and you were like, right, okay, the Moorlands protects. That's what it does. But getting to Alton, I mean, it would be pretty difficult because there's a few small villages that you'd have to get through if they were overrun with zombies. There's a lot of old people in those villages, pretty much just kind of waiting to meet the choir invisible. But once you were there, plenty of food, plenty of plastic ponchos that you could keep yourself warm for a while. You've got that whole kind of shopping arcade area as you go into it where they just like want to sell you loads of stuff, which would keep you warm, and all of the other clothes that are in there as well. There is an old armory still within Alton Towers. A lot of the stuff they pretty much just kind of took off the dummies, and it's all just sat in a room because they regularly take bits out of an area and then move it into another and set up a new ride or something. But there's still that sort of stuff in there, and then plus you've got all of the turrets and stuff that you can get into as well, so you can see people coming from a long distance away. It does have a moat. Although it's not full, but then again they can fall into it. If you could break some of those bridges trying to get into it, that'd be good. Used to work at Alton Towers. That was an awesome job. One of my first ever jobs having left high school. When you're kind of 16, you got your GCSEs. You went and got your GCSE papers and your certificates and stuff. And Alton Towers would be outside with their application forms going, brilliant. How did you with GCSEs? I don't care. There you go. There's your Alton Towers application form. I remember one year I was pretty drunk, had a smoke, and we'd gone up onto the top of one of the castles when it was the fireworks. So we had fireworks going off right next to us. One of the most painful things I've ever endured. As you know, I've never served in the military, but I can imagine it would be akin to standing next to a howitzer with no ear protection on whatsoever. I couldn't hear for a good couple of weeks, and it had kind of tinnitus for a long time, but still never going to live that one. It was really good. Movers left the building. All right, but well, if you watch this again, then hope you're good, buddy. Did the Taff Trail? That'd be cool. So what does that do? Does that literally just follow the river as it goes through? I could imagine doing something like that. That'd be quite cool. My uncle, he used to do a lot of the walks where you literally just start one side of the Brecons and then walk all the way over to the other. And there was one that he did that was literally like Shropshire through I forget what that first Welsh county is. Damn it, my nan's going to kill me. You come into that first Welsh county from Shropshire, then kind of head upwards so that you then go into Snowdon, cross all of the different the Snowdonian peaks, come across down the other side, and then circle back round as though you're heading down towards Aberystwyth, so that you do from Shropshire to the coast. I'd love to be able to do something like that. That'd be quite cool. Maybe we should do that one year. Just as a kind of a Moorlander thing. Should we organise a walk? That'd be quite cool. Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Raphael? Hope you're good. You're still on the fence with the Yukon and the level 7. I mean, it's a good fence to be on, because either jacket that you get, you're definitely going to end up with an awesome jacket. With the Yukon, I see the Yukon as like a 2-season sleeping bag. I think it'll be great for the winter. It'd be great for the autumn. It'd be great for the spring, or at least that kind of February, March part of the spring. I think it'll be good for the winter, but you're probably going to have a t-shirt. You're going to have a couple of layers underneath there as well, just to add that extra to it. Whereas with the level 7, your level 7 is there's not really. I guess there's such a thing as a 1 season, but your 1 season really just kind of a summer kind of thing, isn't it? With the level 7, it's your winter, which you really don't need anything else underneath it. You could go out absolutely starkers underneath that thing. It is generally really that warm. But then you kind of getting just to the cusp of autumn to winter. So I think probably from, like, say, maybe December to late February, early March, that's when that jacket really does kind of come into its element, when it gets really cold. But both of them, as I mentioned, they're both great jackets, but kind of different in the uses, and certainly when it's best to have those. Wish they still did the Delta jacket. I don't think I've come across. I don't think I've come across. Was it Helican Tex Delta jacket? This is going to be really boring for you guys to see me kind of typing on stuff. I can't find. So it's the Delta jacket. It seems like was that kind of a precursor to the Gunslinger jacket? Was it not Gunslinger? Sorry, the Gunfighter Gunslinger. The Gunfighter jacket. That looks like that's quite a nice jacket. I'd love to be a Helican Tex ambassador. I think that would be really cool. I think one of the weird things, especially since Brexit, I understand the reasons why people wanted it. I think at the time I was kind of torn. But since Brexit, it's been difficult to interact with European manufacturers. I've certainly found that I've had struggles with that. Even like weird things like Savota. Savota were like, brilliant, we'll send you a pack, and I was like, that's awesome. But then they went, oh, we can't send directly to the UK. You can only purchase in the UK if you buy it through like a second-hand retailer. Anyway, so like Versteleka, Scandinavian, what are they called? Anyway, there's another one. You can only buy them in through those. So weirdly, I got a buddy that had got his own business, that had got a proper I'm struggling with my words now. What's the word? That had got a proper goods in team, to be able to get it to him, for him to be able to ship it to me. So since since Brexit, I've certainly found that I've struggled trying to work with European manufacturers more. It's unfortunately been an issue with that, and I do wonder if that's one of the reasons that Helicon Techs have been a little bit more hesitant with me. I did manage to meet the team there at IWA a few years back, and they just wanted me to build my social media on Instagram and Facebook a little bit more, which I've always struggled with. I've never really kind of done that. I put stuff out. Half the time it's random weird stuff about, I don't know, whatever I found, and I'll share it. But anyway, long story short, I'd love to work directly with Helicon Techs. I think as far as if you were to look at the content that I make, if you put in Moreland EDC Helicon Techs into YouTube, there's more of my content in the first maybe 50 videos than there is probably anybody else, apart from maybe Helicon Techs, their actual own content themselves. So yeah, that would be good. Oh, and direct action. So I've been lucky enough to test out a few items. Yeah, so from direct action, I've tried the, oh, what's it called? So there's, is it Vanguard? I think it's Vanguard trousers. I'm sure it's Vanguard. So those pants are absolutely amazing. I do have a pair of those. I freaking love them. So when I'm airsofting, there's a couple of pants that I always go back to without fail. And yeah, the Vanguard pants are some of the best pants that I've ever tried, or at least had the kind of honor to run around a field shooting my mates in the deck. So yeah, I love those, and they do, because they also they take what Helicon Techs does really well, and then just ramp it up to 11. And Helicon Techs do a lot of stuff really well, so it's kind of weird that I would say that another company or their sister company would do it to a kind of higher degree. But yeah, I love those. And then there's another one. What's the Halifax? Halifax? I think it's Halifax. There's a couple of different Halifax backpacks. I got the Halifax Medium, which is their jump version, which is the 30-litre, I believe. Another great pack, really nice kind of modular setup with that. I'd love to do more with those. I think with direct action, though, it would probably be more on Moreland Tactical than Moreland EDC. They've got quite a few chest rigs. Oh, I'm trying to think of the name of the chest rig. But they've got a couple of chest rigs that are really nice, and they've got a couple of the ones that open at the front so that you can put them on. And it also means that your pouches are kind of a little bit further away from your chest. So if you need to lie prone, that sort of stuff, they are really, really, really nice. And I'm a massive Pencott fan. And Helicon Techs and Direct Action are one of the only companies that you can get a lot of really nice Pencott gear from. So that Pencott itch that I like to scratch every now and again. I need to get on the case with that, actually. eBay's a great place. There's a couple of Polish sellers on eBay that have got some really, really awesome gear from them. So maybe that's something I need to step up on. I'll tell you what, I'll do that. I need to, might be New Year, because like I say, I've got a couple of irons in the fire, and I've got a couple of commitments that I need to make as far as some funds are concerned. But maybe New Year I'll pick up some more direct action, and that will arrive on Moreland Tactical. and the rides for fun. Oh, I don't know what that was about. Oh, M65 Covert. I freaking love that. And I remember when I put out, evening buddy, hope you're well. When when I put out the content, I think my original piece of content that I put out on it, because I'd never tried the M65 jacket beforehand, or at least Helican Texas version of the M65 beforehand. I'd seen it, I'd known of the jacket, and I'd got a load of buddies that had picked them up from Army surplus in the past. So I'd seen them, and I'd been around them, and that's. But I remember when I put out my content on the M65 covert, there was a lot of crusty comments on there because I'd said that Halcontex had took the original design and brought it into the new age kind of thing, and people were like, "Oh, you can't mess with the original. The original's the best. It's absolutely freaking amazing," and it is. The M65 original is a beautiful jacket. It works so well, but the covert is really nice. When I do on sites, I always take the covert with me, mainly because it still looks nice. And I don't keep a lot of jackets around the house. I've got a few tweed jackets that I wear with my kilt and stuff. But I don't have any dark black jackets. So whenever there's a funeral within the Morland family, whenever the flag's at half mast, I always will wear a white shirt with a black tie, and I'll wear my black covert M65 jacket because it just kind of fits and it works. It's multi-purpose. This is the thing about the beautiful Polish people. Incredibly beautiful, incredibly intelligent, and just they're always thinking everything needs to be multifunctional, and that's the beauty of the Polish people. Everything is multifunctional. So you get this jacket so that you can go out and you can be kind of cool in it and be all kind of tactical and everything. But if needs be, and you haven't got a jacket that you can wear to a funeral, or you haven't got a jacket that you can take out to see clients in Berlin or Prague or wherever I am, then I can just put on my M65 covert jacket. Yeah, they are awesome. Oh, okay, you're right. Okay, so it is kind of like the gunfighter. Yeah, I think they need another jacket similar to that. I don't think the gunfighter's necessarily showing its age, but when you consider that they've gone back to the Patriot, they've gone back. What's the other soft shell one that they've just updated as well? I forgot what that is. They've updated a few of their lines recently, haven't they? And I think maybe if the gunfighter really should be the next one. They've got a couple of other fleeces as well that I think should be the next ones that they go back and they kind of update. It seems strange that they've not gone back to some of those, but instead they've gone back to the Patriot fleece, which only within the last 18 months or so, they've gone from the Patriot to the Patriot 2, and now they've got the Patriot Pro. So yeah, it would kind of make sense that they go back to something like that and kind of revisit it. But hopefully, IWA, I will be at IWA in March, and I'll also be at Enforced Hack, which is the event. The couple of week no, it's the week before. I think Enforced Hack is the Thursday to Sunday. I'll be there, but I won't be there as Moreland EDC. I'll actually be working with I'll be working with my good friends from EP Group, which are absolutely awesome, by the way. I will never not give them a massive thumbs up. If you're here and you've not heard of EP Group, even if you don't speak German, the subtitles that they do are excellent. Martin is a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. So yeah, massive shout out to EP Group. But hopefully I'll be there for Enforced Hack for EP Group, and then the following weekend I'll be there for IWA. Halicatech did a weird thing last year. From what I understand, somebody went to them. Shouldn't be at IWA. It's a bit boring. You should be at Enforced Hack. But Enforced Hack are the huge, big military kind of buyers, whereas IWA still you get some military purchases there, but it's more kind of your civilian stuff. So your airsofters, you get a lot of those. I, I mean, I don't know too much. Let's say maybe some private military contractor kind of people. Again, I'm not too sure about that, but they kind of missed their audience this year. I don't want to say they shot too high because it's Helicontext and they make some good gear, but they missed. I think they missed a lot of the target audience. So there's a lot of people that didn't see some of the new stuff that's coming out, which would kind of make sense. I'll definitely get some direct action gear. I definitely need to do some more of that sort of stuff. Oh, so the Alpha jacket. Oh, right. Okay. So it really, yes, that was it. So that was a trooper. So the trooper jacket, they have just updated that because I can remember some of the amends that they kind of made to that. I wonder if that's why then. I wonder if they decided that they were going to do something separate with that, and then it either didn't have any legs or it was just something that they were kind of retiring. Oh, Ben, that's awesome to hear. I'm, I'm glad that you do like it. Uh, I was again randomly just talking to people, and um, one of the biggest compliments that I get when I read people's comments is that when they've bought something, they've felt more kind of confident in their purchase, or they've just felt that they've made a better, more informed decision when they've got something. Um, so yeah, cool. I'm glad you like it, buddy. That's good. That is genuinely good to hear. I am 1000% down for an empty suitcase Ryanair flight to Warsaw. That would be pretty freaking epic. Yeah, I had a buddy that I work with. He just come back from Gdansk, and he was kind of reminiscing about Poland and just how beautiful it is there. It does genuinely seem like a stunning country. Um, but I do like the idea with your import fees. That was my whole idea when I went to Berlin, and I was like, brilliant. I'll go to tack work because I was thinking I was definitely going to pick up a Neo Cola smock, and there was a couple of things that I was trying to see if I could pick up from UF Pro as well. Um, but yeah, it kind of went tits up because I couldn't kind of get there anyway. But yeah, there's some legs in that considering the cost of flights. They're not as cheap as they used to be, but they're still not particularly expensive. And with the cost that Princess Stormer has kind of added to getting stuff into the country now, it might be a nice little kind of weekend away and just go and get some cool stuff. Was the Helican Tex scarf thing waterproof? Um, no. It's windproof. A couple of weeks back. So I freaking love this thing. Whoa. I've got this, which is one of my ghillie kind of things that I like to use whilst I'm playing airsoft. Where's this from? This is from Ghost, Ghost Hood, Ghost Hood. And he was absolutely bucking it down. So what I did was, I got my shirt on, and I've been looking at some belt kit. I've never really understood belt kit until I started using belt kit, and I freaking love it. I don't. I mean, I struggle a little bit with lower back issues, but since using belt kit, when it's all on your hips, I'm a changed man. So anyway, so I got some belt kit on. I got that over the top, and it started to rain a lot, and it was really kind of heavy. Beautiful, of course, Morelandese rain. Um, so what I did was I had the Halligan Tex, had that scarf thing underneath, and then I had the ghost hood over the top of that. Kept me reasonably dry for the first maybe half an hour or so, but I will kind of add the caveat with that I was just hiding in bushes, waiting for people to just kind of walk past me, and I'd kind of plink at them. But after that, it got wet, and it got wet through quite quickly. But I think I'm sure I might have mentioned in there. So it's kind of showerproof, very light showerproof. But after that, once it got sodden, then yeah, it didn't really afford any extra protection. But what I will say is, though, that because it has an extra kind of degree of keeping the wind off you, it was actually, I mean, it wasn't nice. It was freaking cold that day. It really was cold. I was soaked through to my freaking boxers. However, because the wind had been removed, it meant that I managed to regulate some heat a little bit more with it. Then at lunchtime, I took it off. I had to put it back on again afterwards, and I was like, oh, God, it's just freaking horrible. There's nothing worse than putting wet weather gear back on once you've been nice and cozy. I say that like I'm some sort of like military expert. I'm just a guy that runs around the field, again, shooting my mate in the dicks just for a laugh whilst I'm out and about. But yeah, it was yeah, it didn't really offer much protection other than protection from the wind. I think you see, the thing with it is, as far as the tarp is concerned, I guess it depends, because with a tarp, if it's angled just right, and I know there's to some degree, even if it lets water through, you've got that. I forget what's the scientific effect with. It's when you pour something out of something. It's a mixture of. I don't know. I forget now. I've had too much to drink. But the water will try and go down the tarp. Obviously, you don't want to get too close to it, and if you knock it, then you're just going to end up wet anyway. Something's better than nothing. And I guess if you were going to go full bushcraft, if you could put maybe something against it, it would kind of work. But I think even then, I'm not too sure Helican Techs have positioned it right, because they've shown all of the things that you can do with it, but still called it a scarf. I think it should have been called something different. That way, they could have made it seem that it kind of complements other things. So if it is that you're out and you've got a poncho, it works with that stuff anyway, because you can zip up the sides, or if you haven't zipped up the sides, you can wear it underneath your poncho, and it helps just to kind of what's the word, just kind of pad in the sides to stop the air from blowing under. So if you've got a poncho anyway, you might as well just use the poncho as your tarp, as your shelter, and then you could use the scarf as a makeshift sleeping bag, just to kind of help to give you a little bit more heat whilst you're out, if you did choose to do that sort of thing. It's a weird item, and I think I used the word weird several times during the content. It's just something that I think works for lots of little different things. It's one of those kind of jack of all trades, but if push came to shove, you'd rather make sure that you had a proper sleeping bag. I mean, that's kind of the thing, isn't it? Well, what you probably have is another sleeping bag anyway, but you just put that over the top to keep stuff off it. I don't know. So it's a weird one. I'm glad. I've mentioned this before. As far as other halves are concerned, I offer a completely free of charge international service that is called the Moorlander service. Feel free to say you won it in a or what? Feel free to say I forced you to buy it, or feel free to say that you won it in a giveaway and that it was sent to you completely free of charge. And if anybody asks, then give me the wink beforehand, and I'll make sure that I cover that as well. Now, anyway, getting back to the zombie apocalypse, a famous man did once say, "You're right, to buy or not to buy." Yeah. Zombie apocalypse. Now, so we've organised where we're staying. We're probably going to bunker down at home. If it is that we do need to go somewhere, we're not taking a car. We're probably going to try and find another means of getting there, which will probably be push bike. I think push bike's good. You can get through cities, and if you need to give it some kind of legs, then you can do. I guess as well with panniers and that sort of stuff, you can add other stuff to it. But with a backpack, I wonder how that would work. Because with your trekking poles, am I right in saying something you might know this? With a trekking pole, when you're walking with trekking poles, it can take roughly about 20 to 30% of the weight off your back whilst you're walking with that. So when you're cycling and you've got your hands on the handlebars, I wonder if anybody's ever looked at, if you've got a 30-kilo backpack on, what weight it would take off your back, because you're just kind of using your arms to do that as well. Give it a free lightsaber. I mean, that would be pretty cool. Maybe that's another one for another day. Going kind of down the strictly EDC style. This is definitely one for another day. What sci-fi or fantasy EDC item would you carry if there was a real world equivalent of it? I mean, a lightsaber would be pretty there. Doctor Who and his vibrating screwdriver. I mean, that would be pretty cool. Or, can you remember Quantum Leap? The dude with his little ow, and he'd slap it and it'd like scream and stuff. Was it Ziggy? Ziggy? Is that the name of his little thing? But then I suppose fast forward 20 years and we've all got mobile phones that can probably do exactly the same as whatever was going on Quantum Leap anyway. Now, thinking in advance though, obviously this is the UK. What are we going to do to protect ourselves? You'd struggle finding firearms unless you knew that maybe your next door neighbour had got a firearm, or in the Kings and the Moorlands, probably within at least 3 miles of my house, I know two, maybe three farmers that I could get to that would have a shotgun. But they're side by sides, they're run over kind of shotguns, which I'd have to try and, I mean, because you'd have to break into the house for one, then you'd have to find where it was, then you'd have to be able to find the cabinet that was bolted to the bloody wall to be able to get it out. Or would you try and find something more sustainable? And by that I mean a hammer, a machete, well, I mean, what else would there be? Because you want to make sure it's something that was, you wouldn't necessarily have to keep reloading it, and that would be the difficulty with a shotgun, because you'd only have, I mean, your side by side or your under overs, you're only really looking at 2 rounds, 2 shells in there, aren't you? It's difficult to be able to try and find somewhere in the UK that you might be able to find a pump action with 7 or 8 shells in there. That would be the difficulty, and then of course you've got to reload those. But luckily, because these are ambling, just kind of Walking Dead, you wouldn't need to worry about like folks sprinting at you. But if you'd got something that you could just kind of jab, I was thinking roll. What's the when you set on fire, the tuck and roll kind of thing. But if you've got something that you could just kind of do something that you could hit, strike, move, and then move around like that, do you think that would be better and more kind of realistic? I mean, if I could get into Alton Towers, a pole arm or one of those, I don't know what. There's those ones. It's got like a pot. It's got like a stabby bit at the end, and then it got like a couple of different flared hooks so that you could stab and then kind of scrape and stuff. They would be really useful. But then that would mean I'd have to get to Alton Towers to be able to get one of those. It's a shame that we don't have as many medieval armories around the country that maybe we had 1,000 years ago, which would be pretty useful nowadays. And now, when I say pretty useful nowadays, I just mean nowadays in this specific example because it's a zombie apocalypse. I don't mean because of random knife culture and trying to get into Manchester and stuff. Yeah, see, that's the thing with bows as well. So bows would be really useful, apart from the fact that archery, I mean, apparently it's dead easy. Anyone can just pick up a bow. It's like riding a bike. But it's tough, isn't it? Being the Moorlander, every single time a Moorlander dies, I inherit all of their battle knowledge from all of the Moorlanders. I mean, no Moorlander has ever fallen in battle over the last 6,000 years. However, I inherited all of that. It comes into me. However, my wife and 2 daughters might not necessarily understand how to use a bow. So yeah, that would be another weird one as well. And again, so it would be great to have an unlimited amount of arrows and a quiver that I could keep next to my rucksack and I could just constantly get arrows out of. But if you're trying to get from place to place, how useful would a bow and arrow actually be? I guess it would be useful to have for hunting and that sort of stuff, because you'd still need to be able to feed yourself if you were trying to get from place to place. It's just how useful it would be if it was that you using it to push back the undead hordes. But then I guess as well, you're right. As far as a crossbow is concerned, crossbow might be a little bit easier. But then again, you've got your bolts. If I'm right and understand, most crossbows, the bolts are generally a little bit shorter, and also the pressure for the bolts is a lot higher than you'd maybe be able to get from a bow. Again, I might just be making that up, but once it's stuck in the head, you've then got to be able to get it back out again and then hope that more zombies haven't come close to you so that you're now trying to be picked off. Where I've got my daughter kind of running and go, I'll get that for you, Dad. I'm like, no, don't, kind of thing. And then like 3 days later, I've got to like hit my daughter in the head with a bolt. That'd be weird. Anyway, so yeah, I think that'd be good. That would be tricky. Yeah, Leeds Armory. That you see that's the kind of thing that you want, especially for the zombie apocalypse, because it's all about bites, isn't it? I'm like, I mean, zombies don't really spit, do they? And I think that's the beauty of your Walking Dead zombies, is there's less like shit falling from the mouth. You don't really see them just like gobbing on you, kind of thing. Whereas your ravaged zombie 28 days later, those guys kind of like throwing up blood in your face, and then it's getting in your eyes and it's getting in the cuts in your lips and stuff. But with that, just like getting to Alton Towers, and it just reminds me of that scene from 28 Days Later when they get to the top of the sky, that block of flats, and then there's the Irish dude, the Irish actor, which is a freaking legend. He's at the top, and he's got the full police riot gear on, and he's like smashing them and then throwing them all over the edge. That would be the big thing to get if you could find somewhere that was a army surplus, or you could find somewhere that was a cop shop. Kingdom of the Moorlands, I don't know how much riot gear they've got here. I think if there was a riot, they would probably get on the blower to Stoke-on-Trent and they would send a wagon over with cops with a full kind of riot gear. And I mean, again, I'm just guessing with this. I'm sure they probably do have riot gear here in the Kingdom of the Moorlands, but I know that the the police stations here aren't particularly well fitted out. If I remember rightly, if somebody gets arrested here in the Kingdom of Moorlands, they have to take them into Stoke-on-Trent, which is a 20-minute drive just to take them to, what do they call it? What's the place that you take them? It's not the jail, is it? But wherever you take them to be, where you got the desk sergeant and he does all that, or she, of course, where they do all of that, where they do all that kind of thing. So yeah, that'd be tricky. But that would be awesome if you could find somewhere like the Royal Armouries in Leeds. I think the people of Leeds would be freaking. They'd be fighting amongst themselves. I mean, they'd probably be fighting amongst themselves anyway. But they'd be fighting amongst themselves to try and get into there, and then you just have just legends walking around, and like it was a crusade or something with a full freaking Sugarloaf. What was the name of it? Was it Sugarloaf? The helmets that they used to have with the cross, the flat top ones. Sugarloaf. Anyway, yeah, there'd be some cool motherfuckers walking around there. And you're right on that as well, Ben. So yeah, so your guns would really make noise. I don't know how I don't know how it worked. I don't know too much about zombie lore, but I guess they are kind of they do hear that and they're attracted to that. Whereas your bows, I could imagine something. I just think of that scene from The Walking Dead where they were in the prison, and that was the perfect one for me because they were in the prison and they'd got the prison, the fencing all the way around, and when the zombies would get too thick, they'd just go down with a big stick and they'd just poke them through the fencing, and then eventually they'd just be like a ring of dead zombies around the fencing. But they wouldn't necessarily have to worry about noise because they weren't attracting to the zombies, and they're like, and they'd get kind of like. So yeah, I think that would be another thing that you'd have to kind of make sure that you were pretty disciplined with was making noise to make sure that you could get off that sort of stuff. What's today's topic? Today's topic is surviving the zombie apocalypse, and the sort of things that you'd need to do. So we've already decided so far that it's not the 28 days later kind of rage filled kind of chase you across the moors zombies. They're the ambling style ones. Rather than trying to find somewhere, instead we're probably going to bunker down at home and try and see if we can prioritize living within our own means. But weirdly, at the moment, we're just trying to decide, with this being the UK, or at least if I ventured outside the Kingdom of the Moorlands, it would be difficult to get firearms. There's probably, let's say two or three farms that I know within a few miles of my house that I could go to try and find a shotgun. But shotguns are either side by side or under an air. Shotguns, kind of your two loads or hunting ones, who just simply got that one shell in there. So yeah, that's kind of where we are at the moment. Foam insoles, definitely. Yeah, that would. Yeah, that would be good. Make sure. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to like make sure so all of your clothes, because I know sometimes people often ask me, it's like, oh, this jacket, how noisy is it when it rustles? You'd have to go through everything. You'd have to some like a crisp. You could call it the international crisp bag scale. A crisp bag, or for our American viewers, fries bag. The crisp bag would be the worst possible noise that a garment could make while she got it on. Whereas I don't know what the other end of the scale. The scale would be naked or crisp bag. Which one makes the worst noise? Or those how are they called? They're called mylar. Is it mylar? I forget what they're called. I think it's mylar. Those blankets. Yeah, they make quite a lot of noise when you've got those on as well, don't they? If that's the book that I think it is, the World War Z book it's called How to Survive a Zombie Apocalypse. I was talking to somebody whilst I was away with work about that. Such a good book. If it is the book that I'm thinking that you're thinking of, so it's just got loads of small stories about people, and it'd be like, oh, I'm talking to Dave, who used to be the head of NASA, but now he grows uh, mushrooms in the Shetlands. Oh, I remember when this happened and that happened and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, such a good book. The fact that they're able to get all of those just kind of weird little stories that really don't make sense individually, but then they put them all together. And then there's the odd few that don't make sense until you get all to the end. And then somebody go, oh, and this is what I found out from Jemima, who was the head of the NSA, who now is a I don't know. I was going to say it's a Russian prostitute then, but I don't know why Jemima would go from the NSA to be a Russian prostitute. But it's weird because when you read the book, they all start off by going, "This is somebody who was the head of Mossad, and he now sells whiskey on a beach in Barbados." It's weird because they all move around. We all move around the world. Yeah, such a really good book that is. I think it's time to crack open another one. So we've organised that then. Right, so we're not really going to be moving stuff. If it is that we are going to be moving stuff, though, are there any particular? I mean, straight away, I'm thinking Savata. If it comes down to taking gear from place to place, who's your go-to company to make sure, one, that it's tough, but two, it's not going to be difficult to carry. And again, straight away, I'm thinking Savata mainly because it's ridiculously tough. But then, second of all, like your hunting gear kind of guys, because especially like some of your big North American ones. They're the ones. I forget the name of the company. Is it K? It's KURU. I don't know how. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Kui. That sounds a bit weird. Kui kind of thing. Um, but those sort of companies that are designed purposely for modular gear that you can put different things into, that one day you might be, I don't know, out hunting and you've caught a couple of ferrets and you're just like, brilliant, I'll chuck them in the back. You don't need a lot in there, but then the next day you might be out and you've caught like you like got you. You might have an elk or something that you've got like a load of meat in, but then they kind of work in a sort of modular way that you could make that work. I think they would make pretty good zombie apocalypse style bags because you could tailor design it depending on whether you're going to do a little run to like the the warehouse that I was on about before, to get a load of sweets and stuff and then get back. But then also, if you needed to take certain parts off it, then you could do so that you could make it a smaller, lighter pack. I think they'd be pretty good. They'd be pretty good kind of items to be able to have with you. But then, like I say, I think a Savata. Has everyone ever seen the Savata? The the dude that's. I say that like you've not seen the advert before. Savata had some ads with a dude with an old gas mask on, and he's walking through the woods, and he's like dead chuffed with himself. and he gets to a bus, but it's weird because you can see what he thinks in his head. And he's like, "Hey," with his thumbs up to the guy in the bus, but then you see the real world, and the guy's like a set of bones on the bus. It sounds really weird, but if you ever get a chance, get on YouTube and look at some of the old Savota adverts. And that was my next line for sure. The Rush series, 24, 48, and 72. And then you've got the 100 as well. The Rush series would be freaking epic. The stuff, I mean, I've not been in the military, but the stuff that I've seen people do to those bags, that people have come out of some sort of issue, that there's been something that's gone off by the side of the road, and you see the stuff that people come out of, and then you see the veterans afterwards, and they tell these stories, and like, here's my carrier, and here's this, here's the pants that I was wearing that day, here's the Rush 48 that I'd got on that day. And you're like, wow, Jesus Christ, okay. There's been a lot of things that worked well on that day to make sure that you're still with us today, and it's great that you're still with us. And some of those things are because of how well 511 have made a certain backpack, and it's protected them in a certain way. I think the Rush 100 would be an awesome bag. I think the Rush 72, see, on the top of my head, I think the Rush 72 would probably be a better bag, mainly because I'm trying to think of the Rush 100. The Rush 100, the back, of the two, personally, I prefer the suspension system on the Rush 72. I liked the Rush 100, and I definitely do think that it's still a good suspension system. But with the suspension system on the Rush 100, it had that thing where it passed through the webbing at the top, and then they got hook and loop behind it that kept it in place, which for me, over time, if we're thinking about this zombie apocalypse kind of thing, would potentially be something that could possibly fail. Whereas with the 72, it's all connected, it's all on there. You've got the box stitched, you've got the bar tacks, and because they've got that yoke system as well that works really well, that it's nice to be able to carry that. And actually, no, both of them come with the 48 doesn't come with a waist strap, does it? Whereas I think the 72 and the 100 do come with a waist strap, a waist belt. So yeah, I think you're probably all right with them, especially lifting some weight off your shoulders. But I think of the two of them, I'd probably go with a 72. Yeah, so randomly, the 72 is the only one that I've not made any content or have any experience with. I've got buddies that have them, and I've been around them and I've seen them. But the 12, the 12, the 48, and the 100 are the ones that I've actually got some experience with. But weirdly, and I don't even know why, I probably should go back and have a look at the 72 just to kind of get some experience with that. One of the things that I've always wanted to do, that I really do need to make some time and make some content like this, would be to get either a Rush 12. Oh, am I getting my numbers wrong? What are the Rushes? Is there a 12, a 24? Is there a 48, or does it go 12, 24, and 72? I can't remember now. But I'd love, and I tell you what, next year I'll do this, to get one of them, whether it's the 12 or the 24 or 48, whichever one it is, and properly destruction test it. The Moreland's equivalent of a destruction test. Drag it behind a car, fill it with something, chuck it off the top of the roaches, just see what happens when it splatters on the floor, because that'd be a good way of testing seams. That'd be a good way of testing the stitching. If you could get like a Rush 24, fill it with 5 or 6 2-litre bottles of water, and then chuck it off the top of Hen Cloud, so you've got a good 30-40 meter drop before it then hits gritstone at the bottom. Record that and then just see what happens, because it's not the external forces trying to get into the bag, it's the internal forces with 5 or 6 2-litre bottles that would all explode, and trying to rip that open to see what would happen and how well those seams, how well the stitching would. I need to sort that out. I need to make that piece of content. I think that'd be quite an interesting piece of content. I need that. You see that again. I need to get a little bit more into some of the 511. The 511 garments. I know a lot of people that talk quite highly about the Sabre jacket, and even some of the pants that they do as well. Because I know I've got a couple of paramedics buddies that use some of the 511 pants. A couple of buddies that work for Staffordshire, not Staffordshire Fire and Rescue. Staffordshire, they're not called the police force anymore. They're called the police service, because police force sounds a little bit too, oi, get out of here kind of thing. So they call themselves the police service, which is such a stupid thing to change the name. And yeah, they wear 511 pants as well. So I should probably just get into that a little bit more as well. So Sam, what we're doing, we're talking about the zombie apocalypse, and what would be the items that you would take into the zombie apocalypse to kind of get you out there and make sure that you're kind of safe. But what we've agreed at this point is probably not leaving the home, because these are the ambling kind of zombies rather than the 28 days later rage kind of filled zombies. Probably the best thing would be to kind of hunker down at home to make sure that you're safe there. Yeah, do you know what? I'll definitely make sure that I do that next year. I think that'd be good, because I say, I've not been in the military, and I know a lot of people that have. Maybe not so much here in the UK, although I know they're kind of used, but I think with some of the restrictions, probably the wrong word, but I do know a lot of have friends either mainly through YouTube that have used them, and they speak so highly of them. No, actually, we're coming up to 2 hours. So what I thought I'd do, how about we start to close this down? So apologies to people that have just entered, but weirdly, it might be that it's good that you've just entered, because I did say I do have some giveaways. So I've got a Olight Seeker 4 Pro. This was sent to me from Olight. And I also have the Olight O-Clip Pro as well. It is the O-Clip Pro. Right, so I should have probably thought of this beforehand. Let's think of a question. Right, okay. First person to answer. What was the name of the male actor that played the main kind of male character, the guy that woke up in the hospital in 28 Days Later? What was the male actor that played the main male character in 28 Days Later? first correct answer gets the Seeker 4 Pro. There you go. Grim Reaper, yeah, it was Cillian Murphy. So you've got yourself a Seeker 4 Pro. Now, what I'd say is, and also for the person that will win this next. So, actually, let's write this down just to make sure I can remember this sort of stuff. So, Grim. That was the Seeker 4 Pro. Now, I would say, so well done, Grim Reaper, well done, but don't answer this one. So Cillian Murphy is famously from a certain country. So the next one for the Oclip Pro is, what country does Cillian Murphy come from? I'd like to say he's from France, but unfortunately he's not from France. Well done, Sam. You're correct. Yes, he is Irish. So, Sam, the two winners, congratulations to the two winners, which is, I mean, there you go, Sam. So, you're one of the last ones in, and you've got yourself, these went out quite quickly on the website. So, you've got yourself an Oclip Pro. But what I'd say for Grim Reaper and Sam is, if you go onto my channel and then you go onto the tabs at the top, there's one right at the end, which I keep saying this like I can't remember what it is. Let me check what it says. If you go onto my channel, the one right at the end, where is it? There's one on there, and it says contact. If you go into that contact one, there's a little thing that you click on it, and it'll say, "Are you sure you want to contact this person?" And then it will give you my email address. If you go into there, it's easy to find. Contact me through email, and I'll get these sent out to both of you. So there you go. Congratulations. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, the people at Olight are awesome. So this time next month, which will be, as I say, I was trying to see if I could get it on the 28th. I think the 28th is actually Black Friday. But it's my daughter's birthday. So we'll be going out, Young Adelheid. It's her 16th birthday. So we'll be doing something nice for her birthday. So instead, I think of rather doing it on the Friday night, maybe if we do it on the Saturday night, we can have some more beers. And Olight have also said that they'll send me some stuff, and there'll be hopefully be some more things that we can give away as well. So yeah, congratulations to Sam and Grim Reaper. I'll make sure to get these out to you. Again, so really chuffed that you've enjoyed this, Farang. Hopefully next, I think what I need to do is, I think I need to get on top of doing the posts, just to give you a little bit more of a heads up that it's going to be live. I think maybe I don't think I've ever been YouTube shadow banned, but I think there's certainly a type of content that tends to not find that people have notifications. So I think if I get on top of my posts of giving people a little bit more information about when this stuff comes out, then yeah. So there you go, Sam. See, you these things happen. Luckily, you were one of the people that knew that Cillian Murphy was one of our brothers from across the sea in the Emerald Isles. So he seems like a really nice guy as well. He seems like one of those, because he's not on social media at all. He's just like, oh, whatever, that sort of stuff. It's a bit stupid, but seems like a really nice guy. As long as it's one of those ambling zombies rather than something that's going to be spitting blood, that would be a reasonably decent trade. And these are quite cool as well. The artwork on them is really nice. So you've got like weird little blood splatters, but then here down at the bottom you can see there's like little hands on there as well. So they are really cool. I think if you've got kids love this sort of stuff. And then with the larger one, this one's going out to Grim Reaper. This one's the same, just got like little kind of blood splatters. But then as you go around it, you'll see there's other weird little kind of handprints and stuff that are on there as well. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, so these are new, they are brand new, but I say but. So Olight have asked me to just make some kind of content on them, and all I've done is I've opened this up just to kind of take them out. I've made a quick 2 or 3 minute video because of the weird timing when they got these out to me. But for all intents and purposes, they're brand new. They've been opened by me just to make sure that the kind of the seal's ever so slightly gone. Similar with this one as well. It's completely brand new. All of the things that are in there, I put it back in the protective wrapper thing, but it comes with a sheath that it comes with, and the batteries. It's all in there, working perfect condition. Other than the fact that I took it out just to make a quick 1 minute video on them, which, as I mentioned, I know I've said this a few times, but the people at Olight generally are really, really nice people. You might have seen a few months back I had a bit of a wobble, a bit of an issue with my stammer, and there was something that was meant to be coming out from Olight right at that time. And I got in touch with Olight and I said, look, I'm ever so sorry, but I'm struggling with my stammer. It's connected to my mental health. And the lady there, honest, so nice, really, really, really nice. She's like, look, whatever time you need, take the time off. Just get yourself right in the head. Since then, my relationship with Olight is just, really cool. It's weird. You get kind of corporate-y people that are just like, oh, we want you to say this and I want you to say that kind of thing. Whereas Olight are just, genuinely really, really nice. Fellow stammerer here. Hey, how's it going, buddy? It's a weird thing, isn't it? A stammer. Mine, personally, I've had since I was young. It comes and goes. When I'm tired, when I'm stressed, it's worse. But it's a little bugger, because Mrs. Morlander will be like, Rand, you good? Yeah, I'm good. And she's like, your stammer says otherwise. It's a real kind of barometer for my for my mental health. But it's good. So Grim Reaper, Sam, definitely make sure that you reach out. You should be able to reasonably easily, hopefully, find my email. If you can't find my email for some bizarre reason, seek me out through Facebook or Instagram. again, hopefully, if you're on there, then I'll work out some way that we can get these to you as well. What have we got in here? The Freddy Krueger. Do you know what? I was talking to my daughter tonight, Mrs. Morland, and my eldest. Mrs. Morland is out seeing friends, and my eldest is working. My youngest, Adelheid, she went, "Are you dressing up tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, I was thinking of maybe I should do some sort of fancy dress sort of thing." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not really sure that I should do, or I can't really think of anything." She said to me, she said, "Dad, maybe she go dressed as Ed Gein." I was like, "Yeah, maybe I should." I've got a box of just off camera. I've got like a box of vulvas that I just keep off here. That should be like my. I've come dressed as Ed Gein, and here's my box of vulvas. So yeah, it kind of works. I haven't got the Freddy Krueger fingers, and maybe my complexion being a little bit old and kind of is close to Freddy Krueger's face, but yeah, maybe I should think a little bit more in advance on that one for next time. Cool. I'm glad that you both found those. I think what we'll do is, I mean, I'll take one last sip because I'm nearly finished this one. So that's 3 pints down, which is reasonably good. We shall call it an end for tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed myself again. I think we started with a reasonable start on what we should look at for the zombie apocalypse, but I think these are good because weirdly we go off on weird tangents, and I'm always happy to answer questions. And tangents are great because you start trying to get to whatever, and then you end up with something completely different towards the end. And I like those kind of conversations; they're always good kind of conversations. So yes, we will call it a night for this evening. Thank you everybody that's attended this evening because it's been another good one. I think I need to. What's the next one? I might even do it as an open kind of thing. Maybe we should do that. Oh, though I did that last with this one. I tell you what. No. Do you know what? We'll keep the same format. What I'll do is the week before, I'll put out a few more suggestions on potential ideas for the next one, which will be hopefully the Saturday after. The Saturday after what's it called? Something Friday, Dead Friday, Black Friday. It'll be something. It will be the Saturday after Black Friday, and then yeah, we'll think of something cool for that one. But if you've got some suggestions, then maybe yeah, we could do some of those suggestions as well. But again, we'll just go off on some random tangents. Anyway, cool. Really enjoyed tonight, people, fellas. I was going to say fellas. There might be some ladies that joined the conversation, but either way, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this evening. And here's to friendship and good health. And I will see you all soon.